Welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Tom Fornelli. That's Bud Elliott. That's Danny Cannell. I'm Chip Patterson coming to you live at youtube.com/cover3 and everywhere you get your podcasts on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash the like, and come and join us. Not just the chat, baby. The Cover 3 tailgate. Y'all been hanging out. You've been sharing your locks. You've been sharing your little inside info. What's everybody hearing? What's everybody chirping? Why is that line moving? We'll see. Might get into a little bit of that and more. It's the best time of the week in the football season, 11 a.m. Eastern time, when we do gather together to give you our locks for the week. So, hey, before we get going with the review, let me just say, let's get those likes up. No likes, no locks. All right. I want to see it around 400. Danny, you're in studio, CBS Sports Network tonight. Very fired up for it. Did you get a chance to catch any of the Wednesday night Cayusa action?
Yeah. We were having some fun with our boy Jordan, a little the Middle Tennessee let down there. I did not get to watch any of it, but I saw some of the chat, our little group chat, and did catch some of the highlights this morning.
5-1 Jacksonville State. Former CBS Sports Network employee Rich Rodriguez. That is the most famous position that he has had prior to being the Jacksonville State head coach. Clearly, 5-1 Jacksonville State Gamecocks. Good for Rich Rod and that squad in their first year of FBS in Conference USA play. Get those likes up. Okay, let's begin, as we always do, with a review of the week that was. But it was a 5-8 week. The wins were Michigan State +12, the Notre Dame-Duke under, Oregon State -3.5, Syracuse team total under 23.5, and the Oregon-Stanford under 61. Took a loss on Middle Tennessee +7 in a lock fight. Took a loss on the USC-Colorado under. Also losses on the Alabama-Mississippi State under, LSU -2.5. Pitt on the road, Maryland team total under, Florida-Kentucky under, and then Buffalo-Akron over. What are the big takeaways?
So nothing really moved against me. I think I had one line move against me, but yet nothing really moved in my favor enough to where I think 5-8 is unjustified. I just didn't do a very good job of picking the games. I mean, looking back, Notre Dame under, Oregon State, Oregon under, Cuse were, to me, clear right sides. The ones I really want back, the ones that just didn't go my way, Akron over, obviously, their offensive line just got destroyed. You can blame it on the wind or whatever, and I know the quarterback got hurt, but that's still a bad pick by me. LSU didn't cover anybody. Unfortunate. Pitt really didn't show up, which disappointed me, and Vatek did. So credit to the Hokies. Maryland, we talked about this on a Monday show. Indiana, you can't have those really short punts. It's going to set up field position for you. So that was really disappointing. And obviously the USC under. I would like 4 quarters of defense from USC, please. And I did not get it. I mean, I think you knew, once the punt got blocked by USC to set up the short field. So that's just your toast there. So not a great result by me. Got to find a way to chase down Danny, man. This is he's got quite the lead.
4 quarters of defense from USC in a game, or all season?
Yeah, I was about to say, you and all the men and women of Troy would love to see 4 quarters of defense from the USC Trojans. All right, I got a 7-2 performance. Took a win on Air Force, a win on the Notre Dame-Duke under. Also, that USC first half. The Utah-Oregon State under. That was Thursday night, never in doubt. Picking up a lock fight win is always nice. Western Kentucky delivers that. LSU team total over. And, of course, West Virginia. Good gravy. The Mountaineers improving to 4-1 in a big way. The losses were the Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky over. Tried to go a little 2-for-1 special. Did not cash in on that one. Middle Tennessee did not give me enough offense. And when I told you to lay them, that the big bad Bulldogs were about to wake up, that was my biggest whiff of the week. But I'll still take 7-2 either way. Danny, 7-3. The wins were Clemson -6.5. Also, he was on USC first half -11.5, jumped on Oregon State as well. That was a good win against Utah. Also picked up victories with NC State +3.5. Yeesh, sweaty. Texas A&M's also a winner. Texas Tech a winner. Tennessee a winner. And then the only losses were the Clemson Syracuse over, Mississippi State +14.5, and the Michigan Nebraska under. What were the lessons?
You learn from the pain. It was a heavy week of favorites. I should have just gone all favorites because I think I took the Mississippi State thinking, let me find a dog that could work, and that could not have been more wrong. And the other one, I think we even said at the time, was Michigan-Nebraska under. My biggest fear was Michigan might cover the over all by themselves. And sure enough, that's what unfolded. Michigan decided to wake up. So, yeah, a couple ones to learn from.
That is, you are leading the group with a 28-20 record on the season. Tom, it was a 7-5 week. The wins were Michigan State, Air Force, which, as we've mentioned, is a wagon with wings. Also, the Utah-Oregon State under, picking up a win with Notre Dame -5.5. Picking up a win with -5.5, picking up a win with Oklahoma first quarter, picking up a win with James Madison. The losses were the under in New Mexico-Wyoming. Washington did not cover against Arizona. The Kansas-Texas over. No, Jalen Daniels kind of hurt that one. And then Sam Houston State team total under. What in the world was that? Bearcats with a K. And then you were also on the Michigan-Nebraska under, and that did not cash.
Yeah, good week. Nothing really to take away from it too much. Just the Sam Houston State one is the only thing I'm kind of pissed off about, because it was my Twitter tip of the day that day, and it wasn't really something I considered a lock, but I just thought it was fun, so I threw it on. But lesson learned.
Yeah, I mean, it
Looked good for a while.
Yeah, it was. Then they started throwing the ball all over the place, not doing Sam Houston stuff. Lost the plot.
Moving the ball, not doing Sam Houston stuff.
Moving the ball and scoring points. It's not what we expected. But anyway, got to flush that because it's all eyes ahead. We are looking at week 6, trying to deliver these winners. We're going to get those likes up. But I got to ask you, gentlemen, y'all ready to lock it up?
Yes, sir.
Do it.
Since 2005, the under in games between service academies is 40-9-1.
We're picking locks.
Give me an over in this one as well. A little 2-for-1 special.
Don't get these locks.
I was a sicko last week. Y'all were watching the good games. I was live betting the hell out of ULM Kentucky.
My Blue Plate special 5-star locks are coming.
5-star master lock. Lock it
You
up.
want these locks.
I'm living and dying every point, every cover.
From the locking chair to your ears and eyes, we get started with the early bird action. Thursday night, Conference USA, Liberty, Sam Houston, Western Kentucky, Louisiana Tech. Anybody got a lock?
Just learned my lesson from last week.
Okay.
I'm not locking it up, but the Twitter tip of the day is Western Kentucky -6. I think it's available -5.5, actually. Sorry. My thought process is Louisiana Tech's defensive pass numbers are very good, but they're heavily skewed by the FIU game to start the season, in which they threw for 4 yards on 5 attempts. And also, they haven't faced a decent passing offense yet this year. So I think Western Kentucky will be able to take advantage of them.
Oh, yeah.
Early. This might be a new record. And it's waited longer. Took them longer to figure out. That's a new record.
Tom, you're not going to lock up your Twitter tip of the day?
No, which again, for our listeners is an exclusive and our viewers about, I have to put one out, but sometimes they're not super confident.
All right,
Danny?
I will.
Okay.
Give me Western. Look, I've actually downgraded this Western team so far this year, but think about who La Tech has played offensively. Nebraska, which can't throw the ball at all. UTEP, which again, and we got a lot of the UTEP backup in that game, who was terrible. FIU before they switched to Keon Jenkins, who actually can throw the ball a little bit. Who am I missing here? North Texas threw the ball and scored 40 plus with ease on them in Ruston. So I'm going to go ahead and lay it here with Western. I don't think Western's that great, but I do trust the quarterback and the receiver to get it home for me.
All right, fine. Let the children sing.
Let's go, man.
I mean, it's really the same thing. I have absolutely no faith in Louisiana Tech's defense to stop this Western Kentucky offense. It's really all it comes down to.
All right. Then we turn our attention to the Friday night action. We'll have some Big 12 with Kansas State going on the road to play Oklahoma State. And then in the Big 10 on Friday night, high-end Illinois Stadium is no longer on fire. They will be hosting Nebraska at 8:00. Anybody got a Friday night play?
I do. And this one is a lock. Give me the under 43.5 in Nebraska, Illinois. Reading between the lines after last week's loss to Purdue, Brett Bielema was talking about how this offense needs to find its identity, and we don't have an identity on offense. What he means is we are throwing the ball too damn much with a young quarterback prone to making mistakes, because Illinois has only run the ball 44% of the time this year, which ranks 108th nationally. And when you think of what Brett Bielema teams are, that isn't really in line with what you think. And we've also seen in recent weeks a freshman, a four-star who came in, Caden Fagan, who they've been working along slowly, has started getting more carries. And he's been a little bit more explosive and tougher to bring down than some of the other guys they've had. Like Reggie Love's been well, but the other running backs they've had haven't been great. They haven't been great blocking. Fagan is starting to take more snaps. I think you're going to see more of him. So I think you're going to see Illinois running the ball a lot more with Luke Altmaier back there instead of taking something off his plate. And also defensively, I know Illinois got torn apart by Purdue, but Purdue has Hudson Card and Nebraska doesn't. Nebraska doesn't really have a quarterback I have a ton of faith in against this Illinois defense. I think it plays more into their strengths than the guys that they have faced. So I think Friday night's game is going to be a bit lower scoring and slower tempoed.
Am I crazy to like Illinois here?
No,
I
don't
it's
think
Nebraska on the road.
Is this the first team Illinois has faced that can't throw the football?
I mean, Taquan Finn's a dual threat. I don't know. Do you consider him like a?
He's a lot better than what Nebraska has.
Well, that's true.
No, I mean, like he would unquestionably start at Nebraska. There's no doubt.
I can rock with that. I like the intensity of this. Both teams 2-3, both teams 0-2 in conference play. I mean, it's you don't want to be on the losing side of this one, given the way that the first 5 games have gone for both teams. Any feel on that Kansas State-Oklahoma State game? Oh, you got one? Nice.
This is one I think you have to take it, even though we could come back reviewing them next week and say I'm not going to get fooled again. I wanted Oklahoma State playing at home. It's a blackout. They finally decided to stick with Bowman, who, wasn't great. He had a couple picks in his first game out, but I think there's more stability. I think their defense will get the best effort for them. So 12 points is a home dog with a Big 12 conference opponent. And I know, again, it's hard to defend Oklahoma State and what's happened this year. I just think they're going to hang on. They'll keep it tight for a little bit. Kansas State pulls away late, but 12 points to me is too many as a home dog for Mike Gundy and company. If it's ugly, if it's sideways, I mean, are we not talking about the future of Mike Gundy? I mean, maybe we already are, but even more so.
His buyout is like 25.
Oh,
and the contract rolls over every single year. So I
like
know.
Even without having to win 8 games, like it's just a constant 5-year buyout that's always going to be there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oof. I just think Stillwater blackout, you'll get their best effort Friday. It's already a place that gets loud. They'll be banging the paddles on the side. Give it to me.
Too many daggone points
totally
for Friday night in conference play. I can rock with that for sure. Coming up on the other side, we turn our attention from Thursday and Friday to the big Saturday slate. And we begin with some of those headliners. We'll get into that and our full Week 6 card next. Saturday, it's another great SEC on CBS matchup when head coach Nick Saban takes his 12th-ranked Crimson Tide into enemy territory against Texas A&M. We'll get you set for kickoff beginning at 2:30 Eastern with the Drive to Atlanta presented by Mercedes-Benz, followed by State Farm College Football Today. Saturday, the SEC on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
What'd I miss?
There he is.
What locks did I miss? My power just completely went out for like a minute and a half, and there's no storm or anything. It was weird. Anyway.
Oh, that means that somebody is pushing the button. Somebody doesn't like that under.
The 5G got Tom.
Yeah.
The 5G. Anyway,
yeah. Danny took Oklahoma State plus the points. You getting in on that?
That's all I missed?
Yeah.
And I kind of debated taking Illinois, but I haven't pulled the trigger.
All right. I'm not getting in on that. I like the thought process, though, because I feel like big home dog on a Friday night game.
Yeah,
exactly. I just feel like you have to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, come on. All right, let's begin right there with the SEC on CBS game of the week. This line is starting to move in the direction of Texas A&M. I guess we're looking at around 1.5 or 2, depending on where you've got it. Alabama as a very, very narrow road favorite in College Station. Over under of 46. Anybody got a lock for Alabama A&M?
I do. I almost wish we could do something where we locked it up earlier in the week because I've loved this. I'd say since the preseason, but even earlier in the week when you could get a full 3.5. But I like the Aggies a lot. Give me Texas A&M. I'm not sold that Jalen Milroe and the offensive issues have been fixed for Alabama. So give it to me. Give me the Aggies.
Anybody else?
I could see it. Max Johnson does not protect the football well at all. Like he was really careless with it again. If you look back through Max Johnson's last 12 games, that the ball security is a major problem. I mean, he's reckless with the throws. He fumbles a lot. Like relative to how often he's hit, he fumbles a ton. That just scares me because he will be hit against Alabama. And obviously Bama has a really good defense. I think Danny has the right side here, but that scares me. Like he's a backup for a reason. I think he's okay, but the ball security scares me.
Speaking of recklessness, there was reckless speculation in the chat this morning, or the Cover 3 tailgate, about Jalen Milroe and a hamstring injury. So I don't know.
Whoa.
Oh, that'd be really good. Let's take the quarterback whose biggest threat is running, and let's give him a soft tissue lower body injury.
Again, if it's true, you must credit the Cover 3 tailgate on Thursday morning.
Yeah, no, that would really hamstring the offense.
Ooh,
yeah. No, I don't want any piece of this. I'm way more excited to talk about it on Saturday night after what happens because of all the implications that will come out of a win or loss for either one of these teams, especially the way that it could unfold either way. So I'm fired up to watch it on CBS and Paramount Plus. But this is the goods right here, right? I mean, I'm not trying to do the when Nick Saban will retire, but how many more Nick Saban road trips to Texas A&M do you think we're going to have? Right?
7.
0, says Bud Elliott. Because I guess with the expanded SEC, there's also no guarantee when he would be back. I don't have that one pulled up, but I'm very fired up for this one. Again, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. Before that, nice little table setter. We do have the Red River Shootout between Oklahoma and Texas. We broke this down in Big Game Breakdown on Wednesday's show. Now it's time for some picks. Texas about 6.5 point favorite, over under around 60.5. Who's got a lock? All right.
I will. Go ahead.
I talked about this when we did the Big Game Breakdown. This is one of those games where you really don't have any idea what's going to happen. You can't really use your own logic because it always goes against it. But there is one thing that usually happens in this game. Teams score and score and score and score and score. So give me Texas, Oklahoma over 60 because I think that this is going to be, it's going to be a Red River Shootout. There's a reason they call it the shootout because they don't play defense. They just toss the ball over and score points.
Respect. Anybody jumping on the other side?
Yeah, I'm going to fight it.
What?
Wow. Let's take them out back.
Oh,
let's go.
Fight.
So this is bar fight, right? Y'all are both on the
Bar
other
fight.
What happened to the other one? We did this one other time. I forget who won that one, but me and Bud, the Florida State boy.
Wow. This guy's bragging that he won a 2-on-1 fight. Good for you, Danny. Good for
Ash
you.
Brothers.
Very nice.
I think the difference in this game is going to be the defense. I'm not sold on Dylan Gabriel going against Texas's defense, but you know what else? I think Oklahoma's defense is much improved. You know what's interesting too? You mentioned shootout aspect. I also think it's what team establishes the run game better. I think both of them want to try to run the football, but I think it's going to be sort of that big game, sort of feeling out process. So I'm going to take the under.
I'm basically right there with Danny on the reasoning. I mean, I trust I trust Texas defense just as much as I trust its offense. And I actually think Oklahoma's defense is better than its own offense. I think the tempo kind of masks that, but Oklahoma's offense wasn't good against SMU and it wasn't good against Cincinnati. I think that Texas defense can do a good job here.
I've won a 2-on-1 fight before. I'm fine. I'll be
We
fine
can-
here too.
So Tom can get what, 60, and we can get 60 and a half?
Yeah.
All right.
So Tom, I hope you don't mind. Like I know that you are all about protecting your land, but if I could come over across the property line and just dig into your well a little bit.
Is that what cut my power?
No. Oops. I was digging for the well. I was digging for the Oklahoma first quarter well. Let's go Oklahoma first quarter plus 1.5. Oklahoma lead or tie ball game at the end of 15 minutes gets me home. I like the idea that this offense is going to come out with a pretty good script, and Oklahoma's been getting off to fast starts against everybody. So yeah, give me the Oklahoma first. No, that's not sick. This is a well advertised. This is an advertised well that we've been discussing all season.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Oklahoma first quarter plus 1.5. All right. A little bit later, or also in that noon slate, LSU-Missouri. Ooh, how much do you trust LSU to get right? And do you think that Missouri is ready for this moment? Because a win against LSU would be validating for what has been a really strong start to the season for Eli Drinkwitz and the Tigers. Does anybody have a lock for Missouri hosting LSU? Tigers, a 5.5 point road favorite, over under around 64.5.
I want to take Missouri first half. Plus 3.5. I think Missouri will have a good plan coming out. You know, I generally trust Eli Drinkwitz as a scripter. I think they're going to be pretty focused on that LSU passing game. Give me Missouri plus 3.5 in the first half. I think that's a little edge.
I'm just going to keep riding it. LSU team total over. I might. And like the way that we talked about it on Wednesday only further emboldened me. I made that pick on Wednesday afternoon's early edge as well. Just the idea that both of these teams might say, okay, someone's got to get to 40. Like LSU's not going to worry about trying to improve its defense when you've got somebody as explosive as Luther Burden. So, all right, let's just get out there and trade some paint. We got 36.5. I know that's like a shade over a key number, but I still think
I can get you 35.5.
That's cool. I'll take that too. But it feels like a game where both teams should know you might need to score 40 to win. So LSU team total over.
Well, if you're taking the LSU over and you think both teams might need to score 40 to win, why don't you just take the over 64.5 like I am? That's what I'm locking up. This is going to be, every LSU game this year has been the same. The over has hit in every LSU game, and they're beating it by an average of 14 points per game. It's not like they're coming close and just barely squeaking past it. And then on the other side, the over is 4-1 in Missouri's games this year. They have been scoring a ton of points. So these two teams coming together, over 64.5.
I'll take LSU. Lay it at 5.5.
Nice.
I think there is potential. I saw somebody in the chat saying LSU, could they check out? They still only have one loss in the division, right? In the conference. The others non-conference. I still think they'll be invested. Now, if they lose this game, all bets are off the table. Then I think you've got the serious checkout mode. But I think Brian Kelly can dangle that. We also, Jaden Daniels has been phenomenal. I trust him a little bit more in a high possession, big volume. You need a lot of offense. And I know Brady Cook has been awesome. I know he set the record for, 320 whatever passes without an interception. But in this type of game, I trust LSU and Malik Neighbors and the weapons that he's got over, Brady Cook, and Luther Bolden's been awesome. But I think LSU's got more to work with all around the table.
It doesn't matter that much, but I can get you 4.5.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Hey, you say it doesn't matter. You're telling me that a weird noon kickoff, 11 local in Columbia, Missouri might not have a blocked extra point or something,
Right.
bananas that happens in it. Take everything you can get. Love a lot of different ways to attack that one. Bud's on Missouri in the first half. I'm on the team total over. Danny's got LSU, and then Tom's got the full game over. For no fights, no agreements, but for investment in this noon kickoff between the Tigers and the Tigers. All
I
right,
wonder how often that's happened. Like where all four of us have had a lock in the same game, but none of them are agreements or fights.
It's pretty
not
wild.
often.
Yeah.
It's only since Bud corrupted me with all these like quarters, halves, totals, team totals. That's the only reason why we've been able to get there. with that many options. All right, 7 p.m. Eastern time, Athens, Georgia. Kentucky coming off the big win against Florida. They're going to try to back it up with giving the Dogs an upset scare, much like the Auburn Tigers did last week. Georgia, of course, after winning on the road, wants to come back and flex its muscles a little bit. Bulldogs 14.5-point favorites, over under around 47.5 or so. Does anybody have a Kentucky-Georgia play? Okay. I described this yesterday as putting my hand into the fire, but I think I've decided it's more like putting your hand in a wood chipper or like down the drain to fix a disposal and just hoping that the circuit doesn't trip and cut on. If I can still get it at 16.5, I'd like Kentucky team total over.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Is it out there?
Let's see.
DraftKings says 15.5 juice. So yeah, 16.5. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I think, and it's, Bud, you had an interesting question. You said, do we think that Kentucky's offense is fixed? They had a lot of issues calling each other out, and they have this great performance against Florida. What makes you think you're going to be able to reload the musket and replicate that? But 17 is a low number for a team that might be capable enough to go and get you a couple scoring drives. And if Georgia's offense is not effective in running the ball, then I'm not anticipating that the Bulldogs are going to be holding it for a long time. I think there will be more possessions in the game, and Kentucky will get more cracks at it. And again, there's just something that's a little bit concerning. True, it was a non-traditional running game, but they gave up a lot of yards on the ground against Auburn. So if Ray Davis, we don't need him to have the same performance that he did against Florida, that's for sure. But if Ray Davis is effective, if Devin Leary can hit enough passes, if those wide receivers can make enough one-on-one 50-50 catches, it's a pretty low number for a Kentucky team that I do think is competent.
I don't hate that. Yeah.
I'm done betting Georgia for now.
I'm not.
Let's go.
Because, Kirby Smart this week's talking about the whole SEC should be ranked. He's trying to make this sound like it's going to be close when we all know it is not. Gimme Georgia, lay the points. That second, the third quarter performance from Brock Bowers, Carson Beck, I think the offense woke up somewhat. I'll lay them. I think Kirby knew exactly what he was doing, because what have we talked about all offseason, how weak the schedule is? Now he's got a chance to play a ranked opponent. He's going to hype it up to make it look like it's some huge win. They are still in a class that is separate from the rest of the SEC. Lay them. But you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to take the over, because I do think Kentucky, I do think they'll be able to put up some points too. I just think Georgia's offense woke up somewhat. McConkey, we're seeing him more back on the field this week. I think they'll have a full arsenal. So give me Georgia, a little 2-for-1 special. Lay them with Georgia, and I'll take the over.
Love to see a DK 2-for-1 special out here. All right. Anything else on Georgia, Kentucky, or a feel or a read? What are we doing? If you don't have action on it, let's see it.
Georgia is due to finally cover a spread. So
at some point,
the total outcome is very dependent on how well Kentucky can rush. Georgia so far has really rushed the football poorly, and it's thrown the ball really well, relative to expectation and to each other. If Kentucky can't rush and they have to end up throwing the ball like 30 or 40 times, there's very little chance this thing stays under, because they'll score with the athletes they have eventually, and then they'll also probably throw a pick or strip sack or whatever. So, how you bet this is really sort of determinative on how well you think Kentucky can run the football. Auburn ran it, but they ran it in a sort of a different way.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to bet it, I would probably bet Georgia. But Kentucky, they don't beat themselves a ton. We'll see if they will here.
Yeah, you're
against who?
Yeah, exactly.
No, but in general,
and Florida's defense really played some of those runs poorly. Kentucky deserves credit for scheming them up and for not showing them, but now they have shown them, right? And that was not good defense by Florida.
Do you think that Kentucky's a high floor, low ceiling team right now?
Yes. I think that's the program.
Defensively, yes. Offensively, no.
You think their floor could be bad?
Yeah.
They could go out there and stink real bad.
Yeah.
Things don't go well. Yeah. Woo, glad to be sitting on the team total over. Okay, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We go to no longer the Pizza Bowl, and it's not even just plain Cardinal Stadium anymore. L&N. Shout out to whoever bought the naming rights to that. Still Cardinal Stadium in my heart. Notre Dame, another primetime game, favored by 6.5 on the road at Louisville. Anybody got to play for the Irish and the Cardinals?
I do.
All right.
Drawing the line in the sand, saying it all year. I don't buy Louisville. I don't care about its record. I watch it play. I don't think it's as good as its record suggests. Notre Dame has been through the fires. It's come out on the other side. I think they're going to do so again on Saturday night. Give me Notre Dame -6. Jack Plummer has not faced a defense like this, and I have seen Jack Plummer against good defenses. And then Aiden O'Connell became Purdue's starting quarterback. So Irish -6, lock it up.
I'm going to go over 54. I think that Louisville's defense can, first of all, return of Jaden Greathouse, return of Jaden Thomas, who both did not play against Duke. Those are two of the 3 best pass catchers that Notre Dame's passing attack has right now. And that was one of the Duke played Notre Dame so well in that first half, especially just to keep the game close until the offense finally got going after halftime. But there was an aspect of Notre Dame being down some pass catchers that allowed Duke to be able to make some decisions in terms of its scheming. I think that Louisville's defense is a downgrade from Duke's defense. I think Notre Dame is upgrading offensively. I think that's a good thing for the Fighting Irish. I also wonder, is there going to be a little bit of fatigue from just another night game? And after pouring it out for 2 weeks in a row, and you're just sitting on your hands all day. And it's not that they're like actually tired, but more like mental, emotional. Like, is there going to be just enough of a dip that we do see a Jamari Thrash, a Kevin Coleman, Jawar Jordan? Like, some of those Louisville skill players are good and can really make you pay. I think Jeff Brom is a plus value play caller, game planner, as Bud mentioned, like coach advantage Louisville in this one. But I also think that Notre Dame should, like, as I see it playing out, it's a game that Notre Dame wins, but with the chance of some, odd vibes there around the stadium in Jeff Brom's biggest game of his career as Louisville's head coach. I'll go with what I'm the most confident in, which is that there will be points over 54.
Get you 53.5.
Let's do it.
I'm just here for the post-game NASCAR style mic'd up highlight video.
That was pretty
awesome.
cool.
That was really cool. Yeah. Everyone's going to start doing this too, which is even better.
The one thing that scares me a little bit there is like how cool Notre Dame was playing for the long field goal. Like, guys, that's not as good of a bet as you think it is. Like, you need to keep I'm not saying they're lucky, because they're not lucky. Like, they earned the score, but the decision making that they showed I was surprised they put that in there.
Right.
Like, just to, let's play for the 45-yarder or whatever it was is not great. Not great.
I mean, if you trust your kicker, it's fine.
College kickers, I don't care who they are.
You said trust. What I definitely trust is Notre Dame's defense. I think it's really damn good, man. I mean, they get good interior pressure. The edge guys are pretty solid. The backers are pretty trustworthy. The secondary is really damn good. This is scary to bet under with Jeff Brom in a primetime spot, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to bet under 54.
Oh, so that's a fight.
Fight.
All right. Oh, let's get the blood going. All right. Under 54. That's a fight. Anything else on this game? Nope. All right. Coming up on the other side, we open up the card. Anything, everything from Saturday in college football, the rest of our Week 6 locks. Next.
100% awesome.
We make this look good.
100% hilarious. 97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's so dope.
And you still haven't watched Ninja Turtles on Paramount Plus yet?
Y'all not as cool as I thought you would.
Oh, no. Hey, man. Listen, we were kidding.
Ninja Turtles is effortlessly cool and crushes for absolutely every age.
Jeez, Dad, you really went buck wild there.
Ninja Turtles, rated PG, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast, let's review what we've got on the board already. Bud is on the Oklahoma-Texas under 60.5. He's got Western Kentucky -5.5. Missouri first half +3.5, and the Notre Dame-Louisville under 54. I've got Oklahoma first quarter +1.5, LSU team total over 35.5, Kentucky team total over 16.5, and the Notre Dame-Louisville over 53.5. Danny is on the Oklahoma-Texas under 60.5, Oklahoma State +12, Texas A&M +1.5, LSU -4.5, Georgia -14.5, and the Georgia-Kentucky over 47.5. That's a 2-for-1 special. Tom has Oklahoma-Texas over 60, Western Kentucky -5.5, Nebraska-Illinois under 43.5, LSU-Missouri over 64.5, and Notre Dame -6. We've got a bar fight with the Oklahoma-Texas total. We've got lock agreement on Western Kentucky -5.5. And we got a lock fight on the Notre Dame-Louisville total. All right, Bud, why don't you take these reins? Where do you want to go?
All right, let's go. Chip, let's go to your hometown.
Raleigh?
Let's go to Raleigh. Getting center Dylan McMahon back. I think he matters. Getting one of your safeties back. We discussed how much that could matter for the NC State defense. You know,
but most importantly,
MJ Morris.
Let's go.
Like, do I know that he's a huge upgrade? Not really. Would it be hard to be worse than what Brennan Armstrong's been?
Yes,
it would. I'm going to go ahead and lay it here with the pack. Again, like consistency, NC State's defense is really damn good, especially against the run. Marshall does not throw the football all that well. I like NC State here to go ahead and take care of business at home.
I like that a lot. It was pointed out to me this week that like you cannot have a lack of changes the way that defense has been playing its ass off all season. Like at some point you're going to be sending a wrong message to Peyton Wilson and like the rest of those guys who are just pouring it out to try to keep you in games. And that even if the game plan was to redshirt MJ Morris, allow this to be a developmental year, let Brennan Armstrong kind of be the bridge, that with the way that Brennan and, he started to get a little bit loose with the ball, started to press, started to turn it over, that you've got to look your defense in the eyes and be like, all right, we're not going to keep doing the same thing. We are going to do what we need to do to make this happen. I like the MJ bump. That is my expectation as well. And obviously it's the CW game of the week in the 2 p.m. Eastern time slot. It's going to have a screen somewhere.
I learned last week that the CW is on WGN here in Chicago. So
look at that.
I'm telling you, you just get out the bunny ears and then you hook it up to an old TV and you'll be able to get it right into your living room. You don't even need apps. It's just right there. Come on. Good job, ACC. All right, let's go. Tom, why don't you take where you want to
go? Let's see. I'm going to get this one now because it might still be moving. Hold on. Let me check. I got it at 17 earlier this week. It is currently at, where'd you go? Yeah, okay, there's a 16.5 left. Give me Arkansas State plus 16.5 against Troy. Just, I think this is one of those times where I don't think the market's quite caught on to Arkansas State yet. I think that since they made the quarterback change, they have been a much better, more explosive offense. And I know this is a different test going on the road to face a good Troy defense, but I mean, they were on the road last week, so it's not like they haven't been on the road before. And no offense to Troy, it's not like it's a stadium filled with 100,000 people. So I don't expect that they're going to win this game, but I do think that offensively they'll be able to score enough to keep pace with a Troy team that doesn't exactly score a ton of points. So if I can get 3 scores with the Red Wolves against the Trojans, I'm going to take it.
It's time for sicko mode. Let's go.
Troy boy, are you jumping on the other side?
Oh, hell yeah. Let's fight this. Sicko mode.
Fight.
Sicko mode.
Fight.
I get you 15.5.
Oh,
so we could middle this.
Okay. Yeah. All right. This is not the only one I'm going to have for sicko mode today, but Jalen Raynor's been great for Arkansas State. He's also played, a Southern Miss team that was due to some injuries in the game, playing like a receiver at corner at one point. And he played a UMass team that I watched Don Brown's press conference It appears that UMass may have been without both starting safeties and both starting corners for a good part of that game. And I don't know a whole lot about UMass's backups, but I know how UMass recruits. So I'm guessing that their backups were probably not very good. And I went and watched Jalen Renner, and he looks great. He also had like several passes that are just like there's nobody on the screen. ESPN needed like a blimp camera to show where the other UMass defenders may have been. And I do think that John Summerall may have a little something for him. I mean, Georgia State's offense was going really, really well until Troy rolled into town and was like, nah, we're done with that stuff. So Troy at home, I'm going to roll with Trojans.
A sicko fight. I mean, this is just like just look at the eye. We need to get bruises on the sicko eyes as
the movement's on my side. That's all I'm saying. Just saying.
Okay. Smart. Well, this is Thursday, the head fake. Remember, Thursday. This is head fake time. The limits
I would love their head
fake.
fake in Arkansas State, Troy.
Hey, where the value is.
Yeah, I know.
I got to set it up.
I got another sicko mode.
All right. Well, then let me just go ahead and play it. If you're gonna
sicko mode segment.
Yeah, if you're gonna let the chopper spray, let's do it.
It's time for sicko mode. Let's go. I'm a little bit lower on some of the teams in the bottom of the Sun Belt. If things go wrong, they could be like UMass, UConn. That's kind of like sicko mode of a sicko mode.
All right. Staying in the Sun Belt. Old Dominion has looked really damn good at times this year. Like they're playing a little better than I thought they would. Last week they had 3 touchdown runs of 60-plus yards, which is very impressive. Is it repeatable? I don't know. I watched Southern Miss's defense give up 66 to the Noles in Tallahassee, but I also watched them like play really physical along the lines of scrimmage. And Old Dominion is giving up one of the highest pressure rates in the country this year and one of the highest offensive havoc allowed rates. And I kind of like how this matches up for the Golden Eagles. Heavy dose of Frank Gore. This is a complete backs against the wall game. Like if you lose this, your season is over for the Golden Eagles. So I'm going to go ahead and lay, 1.5 here?
1.5.
Give me one. Yeah, I'm going to lay 1.5 at home with Southern Miss to go. Like you can't be losing Old Dominion here. Give me the Golden Eagles.
Circle the wagon Saturday in Hattiesburg. Let's go. Anything else from the sick variety? You know, while we've got our masks and our gloves out right now.
I got 2 more.
Yeah, let's
yeah. All right.
While we're here, let's do it.
What's the best I can get on the Akron under?
Oh, DJ Irons is out. Yep. I see 43.5.
Oh, yeah, perfect. All right, give me 43.5 under in Akron. Akron's defense has actually been better this year than I expected it to be, which is not saying it's good, but like Buffalo's offense is not that horrid, and they still gave up 13 points in overtime. I bet an Akron over last week, by the way, because I thought the pace would be really good, and Buffalo's defense kind of sucks. So I like under here. A new quarterback, probably a little bit reduced adjusted depth of target, right? A lot of short passes, maybe a little more running here. NIU is a team that wants to run the football when they can. Give me the under there.
Lock agreement.
Oh,
let's go.
Yes.
Yeah, just Akron not having DJ Irons is probably not going to be great for that offense. In Northern Illinois,
the presence of Northern Illinois also.
If Northern Illinois gets a lead in this one, which I think there's a decent chance of, considering Akron doesn't have its QB, like Northern Illinois is very conservative with a lead. It just sits on the ball. So yeah.
So listen, while we're here, I might as well let it out. I've got the bunny ears out for the NC State Marshall on CW. And I don't know how I'm going to get the Mountain West Network, but I'm going to be rooting like hell for Utah State. Let's go Utah State +2 against Colorado State. Let me tell you a little story about the journey of Cooper Legas, because Cooper Legas went up against Iowa, and he had struggled against Iowa, struggled against Air Force, got benched. They go and they put the freshman in there, and then they're trailing against UConn. They're on the road, and Jim Moore's boys went and concussed that young freshman. So who has to come into the game? It's Cooper Legas. And what happened when the senior, who Blake Anderson has said has handled his benching with the utmost maturity, Well, Utah State went and scored on their next 4 offensive drives. He completed 85% of his passes, 3 passing touchdowns, no interceptions, led the Aggies back for a 1-point win, and you are going to make them a slight dog against Colorado State? No, sir. Utah State wins this thing on the field, but I'll take the point.
You're going to bet against Cooper Legas, the man whose very first pass in college was a 65-yard touchdown pass in a bowl game? No, bro. No.
Yeah.
I'm not agreeing with you.
Do you want to fight it, bud?
I do.
Oh,
yes. Let's fight. Give me Colorado State.
Wow.
I tried to get a feel for like what was going on with Utah State, and Legas got benched and then came back in. I don't know what was going on with that UConn coverage, but that's scary to me that you played that close of a game with UConn. I know what the spread was, but UConn ain't good. I kind of like this Colorado State team. I bet their season win total over. I took a small piece of them, 40-1 to win the Mountain West. They seem to have some real players. Like the defensive end's a real player. The defense is not that bad. The receiver Horton's pretty good. The tight end's okay. They seem to be playing a little bit better once they've settled on the quarterback. I don't know. Every single Utah State game is absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah,
Like
the other thing is to take Utah State as second halves or like half times. Don't let Blake Anderson make adjustments.
They don't stop scoring. Like they run the Tennessee stuff, right? Or the veer and shoot, whoever we want to give credit to for that now. They are going to spread you out and just keep chucking the ball around constantly.
Bud's in 4 fights this week. He had a bad week last week, and now he's just coming out swinging.
Yeah.
Hey, best way to make up ground on everybody is to fight him, right? I want everybody to win, except against me.
Danny, where do you want to
go? You were talking about bunny ears. Do you think people are going to be calling their cable providers wondering where the Pac-12 network is? Like, just irate that they can't get the last 6 months of however long it's going to keep going, that they want that Pac-12 network. There's a few good games on this network. I'm going to look at the one at 3:00 where UCLA, unranked UCLA, it's like, wait a second, Washington State's the undefeated team ranked 13th, and they're the underdog against UCLA. That's right there, the underdog. Give me UCLA, lay the 3.5. I think this team, if they didn't have the pick 6 to start off the game, I think they beat Utah. I think they might be in this undefeated place. Cam Ward does scare me somewhat, but I think UCLA's defense is pretty good. I think they'll be able to run the football with effect as well. So give me UCLA, lay the 3.5.
I get you 3.
Even better.
Let's go UCLA team total over. I think
total chip over here.
I think
right.
I think you can run the ball on Washington State. I think that Dante Moore, as we talked about in Big Game Breakdown, the week off is probably good for him. Just to settle in and maybe take on a little bit more. Maybe the play card is opened up. Good big Carson Steele game is what I see here. I'm a little bit terrified of jumping on the other side of Cam Ward, but I do think that UCLA is going to be able to score points in this game. So UCLA team total over 31.5.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Anybody else on anything for UCLA-Washington State?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Also, can I get a 3 for Utah State?
Is there a 3? I gave you a 3, I think, didn't I?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave you a 3.
Cool.
Yeah. Circus hung a 3. Caesars has a 3.
And then you've got 2.5 for Colorado State.
Mm-hmm. So you guys can middle if Colorado State wins by 2.75 points.
DK is 3 juice on this. Interesting.
What, on UCLA?
No, on Colorado State.
Oh. Gotcha. It's head fake.
Kings. Not DK.
Not DK.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I was like, wait, did I take them?
Danny's out there. Did my plays and bets in the middle of the night again? Damn it.
Until Debo tells me otherwise, there's only one DK in my heart. Right?
That's right.
Man, all right. We've got a lot on the board already. What do we have left? Because
I've got 4 left.
Okay. Tom, why don't you go?
Purdue plus 2.5 at Iowa. Cade McNamara is out for the season. This was an offense that wasn't good to begin with, and now they've lost their starting quarterback who they went out in the transfer portal to get. And I know Deacon Hill is also a transfer, but Deacon Hill is a large man with a large arm who cannot move. And he does not have the greatest receivers around him. And I feel like if you're playing Purdue, the area to get them is in their secondary. And I just don't think that is something Iowa can take advantage of. I think Purdue's front seven over the last few weeks is getting better and better. And I think that they're going to be able to get pressure on Deacon Hill. And when they do, he's got nowhere to go. He's kind of a statue back there. And I don't think Iowa's going to adjust its offense to something I think fits him better than what they do. So, yeah, I like Purdue in the points. I like Purdue to win this game. Like, they are getting better week by week on defense.
Fight.
So let's talk about Deacon Hill. All right. 4-star, according to 24/7 Sports. Had offers from Wisconsin, Kansas State, and UCLA. Spent one season at Wisconsin before transferring. I think, and I understand he's a really big boy. I think he's less of a statue than Sorcave McNamara. I think that he is going to be able to do one thing that we did not see happen before, because Deacon Hill had 6 completions to wide receivers, which is the same amount of completions to wide receivers that they had against Penn State and Iowa State combined. 2 completions to wide receivers against Penn State, 4 completions to wide receivers against Iowa State, 6 against Michigan State. I'm actually buying in on the quarterback transition, the beginning of the Deacon Hill era, and Iowa at home against a Purdue team that is coming off an emotional rivalry win.
You must not pay much attention to the history between Purdue and Iowa.
What, can you reload the musket? Can you keep it high? Because a little cannon just got awarded last week.
Iowa hates Purdue for a reason, Chip.
What is the reason?
Purdue beats them. That's the reason.
In Kinnick?
No, not always. But again, I just want you to sit there and think about the fact that you are taking Iowa as a favorite with its backup quarterback.
Yes.
All right.
At home.
Okay. I thought you were a man of principle, but some teams don't deserve to be favored, Chip.
Is this guy like the most Jared Lorenzen quarterback since Jared Lorenzen?
Deacon Hill?
Nope, because Jared Lorenzen can move. I don't think Deacon Hill moves very well.
But I mean, like 6'3", 260 is.
Oh, he's a hoss.
It's like a D2 guard. I mean, that's me plus 42 pounds.
Like, he is hard to bring down. I saw the one video, an Iowa fan tweeted it, of Deacon Hill when he was in before high school in California. And he's 6 feet, 220 pounds. He's just running over a bunch of 5'4", 95-pound kids. It was pretty hilarious.
Sounds like Zion. Let's go to the moon. We call him Zion Hill.
Good point, Kyle Eads. Didn't Purdue upset number 2 Iowa at Kinnick 2 years ago? Yes.
We'll see. Hey, man, there's a lot of blood on the chart today. We'll see what happens on Saturday. Danny, where do you want to go?
We haven't talked about Maryland versus Ohio State. We've seen this story before, right? The Terps come out of the gate. They just come out on fire. It's like, ooh, could they possibly knock off the Buckeyes or Iowa a few years ago, whatever team it is they think they could beat? Do I go 2 for 1 or do I just take 1?
2 for 1.
You want to go 2 for 1?
Yes.
All right, lay them with the Buckeyes. I think the drive for them was huge. I thought that was a huge confidence builder for Kyle McCord to take him down the field. The 3rd and 19 against Notre Dame was ginormous. I also think their defense was showcased as well. I think they get after Talia. The only thing that makes me nervous is he does, under pressure, he does become a little bit of a turnover machine. But I'll go ahead and take the under as well. So I'll lay the 19.5, I think.
19.5, and I can get you 57 on the total.
And under 57.
I wonder what Lou Holtz is doing right now. It's toughness, unders. It's new Ohio State football. Ohio versus the world.
Great. Now Ryan Day is going to be.
The chat is just discovering how big this podcast is, by the way.
Yeah. No, I'm 6 feet, and I'm the low end.
Yeah.
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 And then there's Jordan.
Oh, yes.
Jordan. I like Ohio State with Danny.
Are you going to lock it up or just as in?
What can we get? Can we get 19.5 here?
Yep.
Yeah, I think Ohio State's going to score in this game. I don't think Maryland's played a single decent offense so far. I mean, Virginia, Shoot, who else? Charlotte,
Who's the other
Indiana,
team they were losing to at halftime.
Michigan State, and
So
FCS.
Lock agreement.
Yeah. Go ahead and lock an agreement.
All right. Do you think that people thought you were short because of the pettiness?
I think so. Yeah.
Petty behavior is kind of tiny man energy.
Oh, dude, especially today. This is, what am I, 5 fights?
Oh, great.
Hey, as long as those Elon checks keep coming, now they're all getting them.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. Got anything? All right, Tom, why don't you lead us down the path?
Let's see. I'm going to go. I've got 3 more. Give me Fresno -6 at Wyoming. I think Wyoming's good. I think that is a tough place to play because they do show up for those home games and they are a loud, rowdy crowd. I think Fresno is going to be able to move the ball pretty effectively in the air against Wyoming, better than most teams Wyoming has faced so far this season. And I just don't trust the Cowboys to be able to keep up. I think Mikey Keene is very good. I think this offense is very good. And it's just, if it's under a touchdown, I'm pretty comfortable with Fresno. So Fresno -6.
Yeah, for those inquiring minds who haven't already, fired up the weathercast, it is not the requisite conditions for us to say that it's windy in Laramie. That's not a matchup situation. It's just not there. We're looking at like 8, 9, 10 miles an hour around kickoff.
That's no wind in Laramie.
Right.
Yeah. Still, you don't even adjust your numbers on approach for that one. So yeah, I can rock with that. All right, Danny, what do you have? How many you got?
I got one more. Syracuse. I went to this one last week. I felt like I got burned. I thought there were a lot of points left on the field, though. I took the over 53. I thought both teams left a lot of points in the field. I'm going to tackle it again this week with North Carolina. They're going to Chapel Hill. I trust North Carolina to put up points, and I don't trust North Carolina's defense just yet. So I'm going to take the over in this one, 59.5. 59.
Yeah, the curious to see what North Carolina's defense does with the one-trick pony. It's a pretty pony, but like Syracuse only has sort of very limited set of what you're really afraid of. Okay. Bud?
2 left.
I'm out.
Bud, how many? Bud's out. Chip, are you out?
Yeah, I think I'm out.
All right. Well, here we go. Quick rapid fire. Give me Cal +9.5 at home against Oregon State. I don't like Oregon State as nearly a 10-point favorite on the road. I think defensively, Cal can take away a lot of what, or at least not take it away, but slow down what Oregon State's truly good at on offense, which is running the ball. And I think the Beavers will lean on their run game on the road here. But I think Cal will be able to keep it close. And I also think Cal might be able to move the ball a little bit better than we've seen against this Oregon State defense. So give me Cal +9.5. And then finally, gotten a lot of hate from Mississippi State fans this year because I was saying during the offseason, I thought this was going to be the team that finishes last in the SEC West. And I think that what we have seen so far this year has kind of proven me to be right. But if there was ever a time for Mississippi State to get a cover and to feel good about itself, it has to be this weekend. You're at home. You're facing Western Michigan, a team that has given up a lot of points to a lot of teams. This is like you have to blow this team out and cover to have any kind of good feeling about the rest of the season, or things might snowball really quickly and it might just completely collapse. So give me Mississippi State -20 at home against the Broncos.
Yeah, Western might be a team that you can do that against. Be a good opportunity. All right. I'll tell you what. No one's talking about USC Arizona. And do you know what I've decided? I've decided that, like, as we're editing the instant reaction show, I don't want to be emotionally invested in that. I don't want to be rooting for Arizona's backup quarterback to lead a backdoor cover, and I don't want to be sweating whether USC's defense is going to allow Arizona through said backdoor cover. My lean would be to take Arizona and get 21 and a hook. Yeah.
Yeah.
My lean would be that. But I think I think I've got one more. Where is it? It's somewhere sitting around here.
Do you believe in that?
Oh, wait a second. How are you going to get to? Because there's some games. Like I mean, you're on the road. I mean, you're going to lose to Arizona State.
Oh no! Come on.
I mean, Coach Prime, you're not. You know you need this one, right? I mean, you got to get it done.
Do you believe?
Yes, I do. Colorado -4.5, -4 if I can get it.
Yep.
It's got to have it game.
But you're not locking up Arizona, just to be clear.
Just to be clear, not locking up Arizona. I said I don't want to be invested in that one emotionally. So we are going to take Colorado -4, -4.5, best number I can get to round it out. You do the math. If this team is going to be in a bowl game, say gotta have it opportunity. So let's see if the Buffs can reload the musket after Oregon and USC. And listen, I'll tell you what, Kenny Dillingham, he's going to be trying to fire up a bad football team with Coach Prime in town. I think that we will get the Sun Devils' best effort, but it's under a touchdown, and there are more talented players on that Colorado side. So we're going to go ahead and go with that. All right. Anything else? All tapped out? All right. To review. Bud is on Ohio State -19.5, Northern Illinois, Akron under 43.5, Western Kentucky -5.5, Colorado State -2.5, Troy -15.5, Notre Dame-Louisville under 54, Texas Oklahoma under 60.5, Missouri first half +3.5, NC State -6.5, and Southern Miss -1.5. I am on. Iowa -2.5, Utah State +3, Notre Dame-Louisville over 53.5, Oklahoma first quarter -1.5, LSU team total over 35.5, Kentucky team total over 16.5, UCLA team total over 31.5, and Colorado -4. Danny's got Ohio State -19.5, Texas Oklahoma under 60.5, Oklahoma State +12.5, Texas A&M +1.5, LSU -4.5, Georgia -14.5, Kentucky Georgia over 47.5, UCLA -3, Maryland Ohio State under 57, Syracuse North Carolina over 59. And Tom is on Northern Illinois Akron under 43.5, Western Kentucky -5.5, Purdue +2.5, Arkansas State +16.5, Texas Oklahoma over 60, Nebraska-Illinois under 43.5, LSU-Missouri over 64.5, Notre Dame -6, Fresno State -6, Cal +9.5, and Mississippi State -20. Lock fights all over the board. Chip and Tom on Iowa, Purdue. Chip and Bud on Colorado State, Utah State, and also on the Notre Dame-Louisville total. Bud and Tom on Arkansas State, Troy. And then bar fight as Bud and Danny are teaming up against Tom on the Texas-Oklahoma Red River total, which means that we go to the big old cash register to check out the money line sprinkles. Yeah. All right. Last week, what did we cash in money line sprinkles? Nobody. Oh, we got yeah. Tom brought it home with a little Baylor +360 and Troy.
Oh, you know what? Danny got West Virginia. I never updated the doc. I'm sorry.
Yeah, don't forget to update that doc, baby. That wagon hadn't slowed down yet.
Yeah, killing it.
All right. So Tom, why don't you get us started with money line sprinkles?
All right. Hold on one second. I had to update the doc. I had to do math in my head, so my brain completely slowed down there for a second. I've got 4 sprinkles this week. One of them is a principal play because, as I mentioned earlier, when I took the over in this game, when it comes to the Red River shootout, you never really know. So give me Oklahoma +210 because anything with 200 or better in this game for either side in any year, that's an auto fire for me. North Texas +190. That's just kind of a coin flippy game to me. I think they're getting a little too much on that number. Another one, Texas State +120 on the road. Okay, great. I think that's another, like, nothing against the Raging Cajuns, but I think the Bobcats can pull that one off. And then I took them in the points, and I said I think they could win outright, and I'm backing that up by taking Purdue +115.
All right. Danny, you've been killing it all season. What are we looking at?
Let's go. You mentioned Kenny Dillingham having to get his squad fired up. He doesn't have to say a word because every team wants a piece of Colorado. how is Colorado going to react after all the excitement, the fanfare they've had almost every week of the season to being on the Pac-12 network? Hardly anybody watching. I don't know what the atmosphere is going to be like. Give me the Sun Devils to win outright against the Buffs. I have a lot of home dogs here. Give me Louisville. Jeff Brom needs that signature win. The hometown hero coming back. Notre Dame, their schedule is starting to look harder and harder. At some point, I think it catches up with them. So I'll take Louisville as the home dog there. Wyoming, the other one. Said Laramie, it's going to be nice conditions. Fresno State is a really good football team. This one, some of these you just go for the return on the investment. Anything over plus 200, I like it there. So I'll go ahead and take Wyoming to win at home. And then Utah State, give me them. Colorado State's good, but they're not good enough to go to Logan. Give me Utah State there. And then the one lone road dog. This is just a gut feel. Are we sure MJ Morris or are we sure Brendan Armstrong is the problem for NC State? Give me Marshall to win outright. I wish it wasn't at Carter Finley. It's going to be a tough place to win, but I'll go ahead and take the flyer on it anyway.
Oh, not an MJ Morris believer. The man who was once all about the conference of quarterbacks is now doubting that conference's quarterbacks.
All right, Bud, what do you have?
With Denny on the Arizona State, I like Scarborough, the running back for Arizona State. Like they seem to be playing, decent with him. Expect a lot of running in that one from them. Boston College plus 130. Dogs to Army. I like what I've seen from Castellanos so far. Army's played a lot of kind of iffy quarterbacks so far, but I do think that Boston College can go win that one. Do we really trust TCU on the road after how TCU's played this year? Iowa State's offense looking a little bit better. That was kind of a meltdown from TCU. Let's see how they get off the mat. I'll pay to see it. Give me the Iowa State plus 210 at home. And look, I know that I bet under in this Akron game, but in what world is NIU trustworthy enough to be over minus 200? Give me Akron plus 210, dude. It's the MAC.
Zips. Let's go.
I mean, the Zips have had so much go against them luck-wise that at some point they've got to catch a break, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got Missouri plus 195, almost 2-1 on the idea of a game that's going to be a little bit a little bit high scoring. So you got a lot of variance. Weird stuff could happen. And then this is not like an outright fade as much as it would be acknowledging how hilarious college football can be. Because after you lose to Bowling Green, what would be funnier than to turn right around and go beat Miami in their house? Miami, which is coming off the off week, right? You've had all these days to think about how you're undefeated, how you're feeling good. I mean, I saw somebody try to share with me, if the BCS computers were here right now, Miami would be like a top 5 team. Oh, man, if they're starting to get a little bit of that, now you're starting to think national championship. And I just think, especially off the Bowling Green loss, that this Georgia Tech team, which lost by 1 score to Louisville, was right there with Ole Miss. They've got mess around and find out capability, at least at plus 890 or plus 900 or whatever ridiculous number.
I can get you 10-1. I know what you're doing. I see your record in sprinkles this year. You're trying to earn it all back with one pick.
I mean, that's what the best gamblers do, right? They just
double down, triple down.
And we go for the home run the entire way. So, yeah.
To your point, the BCS ranking, I saw that too. Number 1, ranked number 1. Yeah. Just claimed the national title already.
In my ratings, which, are just reactive to everything that happens, Miami's the number 1 team in the country right now.
Now, are these, if you guys recall, because I know we've covered the sport for a while, so we're old, the initial BCS did include margin of victory, and then they changed it to make it less accurate, to be nicer to people, so the teams would stop running up the score. But it did make the ratings less accurate. Is this the OG BCS formula? I assume so, because Miami's run it up hard.
Mine includes margin of victory.
Anybody outside of Texas A&M.
They've looked good, though. I mean,
they've looked the part.
Yeah, that's fair.
I hope they don't include the FCS game Like you definitely should not be able to improve your BCS standings by winning 48-7 against Bethune-Cookman. Right?
Says 4-0.
Better than losing 48-7 to Bethune-Cookman. I mean, if you lose to them, it counts in the BCS standings, doesn't it?
So I think Miami wins that game, but it's at least worth a little bit of a sprinkle. All right, any other big games that we didn't get a chance to talk about one way or the other? I always feel a little bit not guilty, but some type of way when I'm putting together the show notes afterwards, and I'm like, oh no, we totally omitted Florida State, Virginia Tech.
I mean, if we're going to complain about how Colorado, USC is not a big game breakdown, 24-point favorite's not a big game breakdown, I guess.
I mean, what do we think? What are we looking for?
I'd like to see Florida State with an impressive performance, but I'm not at a point where I trust them. I want to see what it looks like with Jordan Travis, how healthy is his shoulder, and also how they have very little reason to run up the score to really, put on the gas. So I'm very curious to see what Florida State looks like. I don't think they're in jeopardy of losing or anything. I would like to see them come out with a strong performance.
Vatek outright. Florida State sucks.
I mean, Vatek looked a lot better last weekend.
And you think that Florida State would be healthy, getting a lot of guys back from the bye week. You would think, but I want to see them first before I lay that big
these
number.
teams off of. I mean, North Carolina
might be careful with it, just to make sure they're real healthy.
Right.
I mean, they have Duke. Up next Duke without Leonard. We're going to assume Syracuse without all its receivers again, probably. And then Wake. There's not a huge reason to rush guys back.
Right.
These teams off a bye are interesting because I was talking with a guy I went to school with this morning at daycare drop-off, and we were like, man, that North Carolina's team has been 4-0, walking around on campus, having a little bit more free time. Everything's gassing you up. Let's see if you can get that motor going again. It's going to be an interesting test of the maturity in a lot of these locker rooms.
I guess that's Mac at his presser yesterday was saying that he really wants his coaches to just find the negative. He knows they've had enough positive. He's like, find every negative thing they've done and harp on it. Tell them what they need to fix. Because
it is the kind of program where if you are in the top 15, the whole campus is slapping you on the back, and it's you can walk around with your chest out a little bit. So it'll be interesting. Michigan on the road at Minnesota. Ooh.
An interesting game, but I think Michigan cruises.
Yeah.
Another game in the early slate that I'm interested in that I don't think many people will be watching just because of what else is going on. I want to see Rutgers at Wisconsin. I just feel like if Rutgers, they played Michigan and Michigan did what Michigan does to teams, but I just think this Rutgers team is better than a lot of people realize. And I kind of think there's some signal to the noise. And I just wonder, going on the road to Madison, I want to see how competitive this Rutgers team is against the Badgers.
Yeah, on the gradient shading, you've seen Rutgers go from dark red to whitish.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hello. That's interesting. The everybody at the Cover 3 tailgate asking about a little UCF Kansas. I would not touch it unless I knew the quarterback status.
Correct.
Okay. There's some. I mean, that's a rough blow. I mean, Jalen Daniels came into the season as a trendy Big 12 player of the year. He's out the first game. This is the last one. There's something more serious going on. That back is a problem.
Agree with Danny there. I would expect to see Bean for them just based on reading the tea leaves. And I think it was reported that he hadn't practiced, and then Leipold said that he hadn't done much. So this is kind of in the range of the initial timetable that was floated out there for Plumlee to come back to UCF.
Mm-hmm.
Given how close the line is,
whoa! It just took a huge swing.
Yeah.
Was there news on Daniels or something?
It flipped. No, I think UCF got released. So, yeah, I would
by one of the services.
Yeah, I would expect to see. I mean, just based on that, I would expect to see Plumlee.
I mean,
McLean's been better than I thought.
It went from Kansas -1 at a lot of places to now it's even UCF -2 at Caesars and Bet Online. So, take that for what you will.
Do you trust South Florida as a 3.5-point favorite?
Yeah, I think they're actually kind of okay.
I don't trust UAB. I just don't know what I'm going to do with UAB. But
you're going to get a fired up Trent Dilfer on the sideline, though. You're going to get that.
And then one last one. The Doors go to Gainesville.
Give me the Doors.
Yeah.
On the field.
Late sprinkle edition. Yes, it's going to be awesome. All right, we will be back with you Saturday night, 11:30 p.m. Eastern time, so we can break down everything that happened throughout the Week 6 slate. And you can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fernelli. You can follow him at Danny Cannell. You can follow him at Bud Elliott 3. You can follow me at Chip_Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
See ya. I'm done. We just finished.
Let's just go forever, boys.
Is it not it? Is it not ending? Right?
Yeah, man.